Now, 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then a person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. So then how do you begin to make those changes? Well, you have to get beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that's where meditation comes in, because you can teach people through practice how to change their brainwaves, slow them down. And when they do that properly, they do enter the operating system where they can begin to make some really important changes. The stronger the emotional reaction you have to some experience in your life, the higher the emotional quotient, the more you pay attention to the cause. And the moment the brain puts all of its attention on the cause, it takes a snapshot, and that's called a memory. So long-term memories are created from very highly emotional experiences. It turns out most people spend 70% of their life living in survival and living in stress, so they're always anticipating the worst case scenario based on a past experience, and they're literally, out of the infinite potentials in the quantum field, they're selecting the worst possible outcome, and they're beginning to emotionally embrace it with fear, and they're conditioning their body into a state of fear. Do that enough times, the body has a panic attack without you. You can't even predict it because it's programmed subconsciously. The hardest part about change is not making the same choices you did the day before, period. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, get ready, because it's going to feel uncomfortable. All organisms in nature can tolerate short-term stress. You know, a deer gets chased by a pack of coyotes. When it outruns the coyotes, it goes back to grazing and the event is over. And the definition of stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance, out of homeostasis. The stress response is what the body innately does to return itself back to order. So you're driving down the road, someone cuts you off, you jam on the brakes, you give them the finger, and then you settle back down and the event is over, and boom, now everything's back to normal. But what if it's not a predator that's waiting for you outside the cave, but what if it's your coworker sitting right next to you, and all day long you're turning on those chemicals because they're pushing all your emotional buttons. When you turn on the stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease, because no organism in nature can live in emergency mode for that extended period of time. It's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease, long-term effects. Human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible then our thoughts could make us well? The answer is absolutely yes.
So the fact that our thoughts can make us sick and our thoughts can make us well, this shows the power of the placebo effect. Now, in Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, there was a study that was done, and it was on a guy who was told by doctors, people in white coats who have the authority, that he had esophageal cancer. They said, you've got 6 months to live. After those 6 months, you're going to be dead. He prepared, his family prepared, and they made it as best possible for him. Now, 6 months and give or take a few days, the guy did die. They did an autopsy on his body, and it turned out he didn't have any cancer at all. So he thought himself to death. So if you can truly think yourself to death, you can think yourself to health. You can think yourself to wealth. You can think yourself to luxury life. You can think yourself to freedom, happiness, joy, contentment, whatever it is that you want to achieve. So with all this pandemic going on, coronavirus, COVID-19, everything like that, the government are keeping you in a state of stress. Now you have the choice here to perceive this in a different way. We always have the choice to perceive something in a different way. It's not the situation that happens, it's the perception on the situation. Someone could lose their leg and they could say, why me? Now don't get me wrong, that is awful, that is a horrible thing to happen. But there's been people, and I've watched videos and I've seen all these people, I've been to the seminars where they've spoken about it, and he lost all of his limbs. Now his perception initially was, why me? Why didn't I just die? Until someone inspired and motivated him and said, this is gonna be okay, you're part of the club. Don't get me wrong, he didn't want to be part of that club. but over time he came to accept it. When he did that, he started going into places where people have lost arms and legs. He looked at them and said, "You're gonna be okay. I'm okay. It's your perception." If you can change your perception around the stress and you stop allowing all of these hormones, all of these stress receptors in your body to blow up, you're not going to be in that mode of stress. If you're not in that mode of stress, you're able to create your life. You're not reacting to life. Life happens based on your emotions, based on your energy, based on your frequency, based on your feelings at that specific time. This has taken me a good few years to do. Now I figured out keys how to do it. This is why I help people, because I want to help speed up their process. Now, start with your mental talk, the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you speak to yourself. You need to wake up every day. You need to see yourself as a great being. Now, that doesn't mean you have to come from an egotistical standpoint and start saying, "I'm amazing, I'm better than everyone," because that's not how it is. Now, I believe that I'm great. I believe that I'm deserving of love. I believe that I'm deserving of wealth. I believe that I'm deserving of health. I believe in myself and where I'm going to go. But that doesn't mean that I'm better than anyone or they're better than me. We're all equal. We have the same opportunity. The key is that I force myself out of a situation of stress, even when it is stress going on. When there's stress outside, I try and see the positives in the situation. Now, coronavirus, everything's going wrong apparently. My opinion, there's great things that are going on from it. When you can find a positive in a situation, the reason that happened with my past and what happened with my dad, I found a positive in it, and that's what's empowered me to use that story to help other people. The reason that my first business didn't work wouldn't have got me to here. Initially I couldn't see it, but now I see it. Now when things arise, and this takes the understanding of repetition of this happening, now I see these opportunities and I say, okay, this is going wrong. What do I need to learn? What can I learn from this situation? What is this trying to tell me? What can I take from this situation in order to progress me to the next level? Take yourself out of the stress response, put yourself into a place where you can create, you can dictate, and you can change your life. Now this won't be easy because you have to unwire yourself. Now we are habitual beings. We are created of whatever we've done in the past. How you walk, how you talk, how you think, how you see yourself. It's repetition. So we need to figure out that self, gain clarity on who we are, figure out that self, unwire ourselves, figure out our new self, who we want to be, rewire ourselves. Repetition is key. Now, hypnosis is a fast track. That's why I use it, because you're talking to the subconscious mind. You're talking to the mind that is you, your deep down you. The time we have on planet Earth is there as a buffer. We use this time to learn the things that we need to learn. You can have downloads from the universe. You can read a book and get some information. But the buffer time is there to act and take action and continue to act upon your desires. Take yourself out of the stress response, put yourself into creation, into excitement. What can you do to capitalize on all the stuff that's going on right now? There may be stuff going really wrong right now. What can you do to utilize it? What can you capitalize on? Is there something that you can do to help more people? Now me personally, it's telling me stick with a lot more online stuff because that's more possible at this moment in time. Do you have to adapt? Most likely. If you don't adopt to adapt, you're never going to change. It takes a bit of time, but it's worth it, I promise you. So I hope you like this video. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep spreading love, kindness, and I love you all.